Picture, if you will, a twilight wood where the boughs bend low and the air hums with a tune no mortal throat has sung, a melody of whispers and half-heard sighs, weaving through the dusk like threads of silver mist. Here begins a dance, not of flesh and finery, but of souls clad in masks so artfully shaped that even the keenest eye might falter in its judgment. I have seen it, my friends, in the quiet corners of this earth, in the flicker of a glance across a crowded room, in the lilt of a voice too smooth to trust, in the laughter that rings bright yet leaves a chill. It is a masquerade, a grand and subtle game, and its players tread among us with steps as light as shadows, as sure as fate. Step closer and mark the figure who leads this waltz. He is no stranger, though you may wish him so. His cloak is woven of charm, his crown a gleam of promises, his smile a lantern that draws the moth near only to singe its wings. I have watched him in the stillness of an Oxford twilight or the clamour of a London lane, threading his way through our days with a grace that belies his purpose. You have met him too, I dare say, not in some distant fable, but in the flesh and blood of your own tale. Perhaps he stood beside you in the pew, his hymn a shade too fervent. Perhaps he shared your table, his jests a shade too sharp. He is the deceiver, the spirit of falsehood, and his art is not the bludgeon of the brute, but the needle of the seamstress, fine, precise, and piercing to the marrow. In my little fiction, The Screwtape Letters, I gave voice to a fiend who schooled his nephew in such crafts, how to twist a soul's trust, how to gild a lie with the sheen of truth. I thought it a jest, a mirror held to our follies, but the jest has turned upon me. The pupil has slipped the page and taken form, no longer content to whisper from the ink. He dances now in our parlours, our churches, our very hearts, and his lesson is no mere theory, it is a living snare. I confess I penned those letters with a wry smile, thinking to mock the enemy's wiles, yet here I stand humbled, for the wiles have outpaced my pen and set the world a-whirl. Do not mistake this for a petty game, a trifle to be shrugged off with a sigh and a Sunday prayer. This is no stumble of vanity, no fleeting flaw of the proud or the peevish. We face a spirit deeper and darker, a craftsman of illusion whose every step is measured, whose every word is a thread in a tapestry of deceit. His craft is not the thunder of tyranny, nor the blaze of open malice. It is the murmur in the dusk, the hand that guides while seeming to follow, the mask that mirrors your own face until you scarce know friend from foe. He does not storm the gates of your soul, he picks the lock with a feather, and you thank him for the breeze. Have you not felt his shadow brush your own? Recall the friend whose praise grew cold when the spotlight turned, the confidant whose counsel left you doubting your own mind, the companion who vanished when the storm broke over your head. I have known them too, in the student whose flattery masked a rival's heart, in the colleague whose agreement hid a dagger's edge. They are not rare, these deceivers. They are the neighbours of our daily round, the voices in our chorus, the hands we clasp in trust. And yet their presence is no accident, no quirk of chance. They are the footmen of a greater design, echoing the enemy's oldest gambit. To wear the garb of light while sowing the seeds of night, pause here, my reader, and let the sting of recognition settle. You have danced this waltz, have you not? You have offered your hand to the figure in the cloak swayed to his tune, and found the floor give way beneath you. Perhaps it was a promise broken, a kindness turned to scorn, a loyalty that fled when the winds grew sharp. I see it in my own mirror. The hours spent unravelling a friend's riddle, the night spent wondering why a word cut deeper than it should. We are not alone in this. The masquerade is vast, its dancers legion, and each of us has trod its measure, willingly or no. Yet despair not, for the twilight wood is not our prison, nor the deceiver our jailer. There is a light that pierces all veils, a dawn that scatters the mist and stills the walk. The psalmist knew it, crying out in his brokenness, "The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit." Psalm 34, 18 Authorized Version. This is no mere comfort, it is a clarion, a trumpet against the shadows. The deceiver may lead the dance, but he does not hold the hall. His mask may dazzle, but it cannot endure the gaze of the one who sees all. And in that gaze we find our footing, our escape, our dawn. How then shall we know this figure amid the throng? By 7 marks, my friends, not carved in cold marble, but traced in the living clay of our joys and griefs. I shall lay them bare in the pages to follow. The the parasite who feeds on pity, the bard who spins brazen lies, the lantern that fades at dusk, and more. These are no abstract signs. They are the footprints of the foe, the echoes of his tune, the scars of his needle. If his shadow has darkened your door, if his whisper has stirred your doubts, these marks will be your map, your lantern through the wood. But I do not write as one apart, a prophet thundering from the mount. I am a fellow dancer, a stumbler in the dusk, and these words are no sermon, they are a plea. Take them, I beg you, and carry them forth. Whisper them to a friend by the fire, read them aloud where the weary gather. Pen them in a note to a soul still swaying to the deceiver's tune. The masquerade thrives in silence, in the turning of blind eyes. Let us be the ones who lift the curtain, who tear it asunder, who bear the taper into the gloom. For every heart that has faltered in this dance, there is a company waiting, a fellowship of the unmasked ready to share the light. And so we begin, not with a shout, but with a whisper, not with a sword, but with a spark. The deceiver's waltz is cunning, his mask a marvel, but his reign is frail before the breaking day. Pass this tale on, my companions, and let it echo where the twilight lingers yet. We are not captives of the wood, nor pawns of the dance. We are pilgrims of the dawn, and the one who wove the stars walks with us still. Step forward then, and let us unmask the shadows together. And now, my friends, let us step from the twilight wood and draw the veil from the deceiver's face, not with trembling hands, but with the steady grip of those who seek the dawn. His dance has lured us long enough, his mask a marvel of shadow and sheen, but beneath it lies a spirit of falsehood, a craftsman whose wiles I have traced through the tangled paths of this mortal life. Here are his 7 marks, not etched in stone for the proud to ponder, but written in the fragile ink of our trust and tears, signs by which you may spy him out amid the throng. These are no idle fancies, they are the footprints of a foe who treads softly yet leaves scars deep. Let us name them then and know our adversary. First behold the man who feeds upon your mercy as a leech clings to the vein. You meet him in a moment of weakness, his eyes downcast, his voice a quiver, in your heart, soft as it is, bids you offer solace. Poor soul, you murmur, and pour out your compassion like wine into a cracked cup. But mark this, he does not drink to be filled. He drinks to bind you. Each kindness you give is a thread in his net, each forgiveness and not to hold you fast. I have seen it, a friend who wept for my aid, only to wield my pity as a whip when the tide turned. Be wise as serpents, our Lord warns, Matthew 10:16. For to such a one your mercy is no gift, it is a chain forged in the guise of grace. Next meet the teller of tales so bold they dazzle the ear and blind the mind. Catch him with the proof in hand, a letter, a word, a deed undeniable, and he spins a yarn to shame the wildest bard. Misunderstanding, he cries, though the ink glares black, though the wound bleeds fresh. He is a conjurer of the unreal, a minstrel whose lute plays discord while his smile sings peace. I recall a colleague once, caught in a lie, who wove such a tale of innocence that I half doubted my own senses. The father of lies, St. John names him, 8:44, and this one strums his tune, leaving you to question the very stars above. Third, see the man whose light shines bright when all is well, yet gutters out when shadows fall. In the warm glow of plenty he is your sun, his laughter a beacon, his promises a flame to warm the coldest night. But let the storm rise, let the hearth grow dim, and where is he? Gone, a candle snuffed by the merest breath, leaving you to stumble in the dark. I have known such a one, a companion who danced with me in mirth, only to vanish when sorrow knocked. His radiance is a lure, a bauble for the unwary, a love in deed and in truth, the apostle bids, 1 John 3:18, yet his love is a shadow that flees the test. Fourth, mark the man who locks your voice in a cage of his own making. Speak out against his barbs, and he recoils as though struck. Hold your peace, and he builds his tower higher still. Why dwell on such trifles? He sighs as if your pain were a child's whim, a mote to be brushed aside. He craves your silence, for in it he reigns supreme. Your protest, however faint, is a bell he cannot mute. I have faced this too. A mentor whose gentle chiding stilled my tongue, only to sharpen his own. The proverbs warn of words that are pierced like swords, 12:18. His are cloaked in velvet, yet they draw blood all the same. Fifth, spy the man who flees when the waters rise. Be it grief that floods your days, ruin that cracks your walls, or despair that drowns your hope, he is not there. You, who stood by him through flame and frost, call out in the deluge, and he answers with the wind's silence. His flight is swift, his absence a door slammed shut. I remember a brother in arms, steadfast in fair weather, who slipped away when sickness shadowed my door. He will not forsake thee, Moses' vows of the eternal, Deuteronomy 31:6. But this one forsakes with the ease of a leaf on the stream. Sixth, watch the man who weeps when you turn away, his tears a glistening snare. Stay, he sobs, and your heart softens. Surely he feels your pain as you feel his. Look again as you feel his. Look again, those drops are a mirror, reflecting not your loss but his own diminished throne. Where you mourn a bond severed, he grieves a vassal lost. Where you bleed for love, he bleeds for power. I have seen it, a kinsman whose lament moved me, until I saw it was his pride, not my hurt, that fueled his cry. Woe unto you, whited sepulchres, Christ thunders, Matthew 23:27. Fair without, hollow within. Last, behold the man who builds with chaos as his mortar. A whisper here, a nudge there, and soon the hearth grows cold with mistrust. Friend turns from friend, kin from kin. He stands atop the ruin, a king of shattered ties, his smile a crown forged in division. I have witnessed it, a circle of comrades undone by a single barbed jest, a family split by a half-truth sown in secret. If ye devour one another, Paul cautions, Galatians 5:15. Take heed, yet this architect delights in the feast, his hands clean, his heart dark. These then are the 7 marks, not a scholar's list, but a pilgrim's map drawn from the dust of our daily walk. They weigh upon us, these signs, for they are not distant phantoms, but neighbors of our own making. You have felt them, I warrant. The sting of pity turned to chains, the chill of a lantern snuffed, the echo of a lie that lingers. I have borne them too, and the bearing is no light thing. Yet to know them is to arm ourselves, to see the mask for what it is, a frail thing, a shadow's jest before the dawn. Do not turn away, my companions, though the sight be bitter. These marks are not our doom, but our deliverance, a lantern to guide us through the wood, a key to unlock the jailer's cage. The deceiver thrives where we falter, where we shrug and sigh, and let the dance go on. Let us be the ones who pause, who peer beneath the cloak, who name the falsehood for what it is. Share this map with a friend, whisper it where the weary gather, for in the naming we weaken him, and in the sharing we light the way, and so we stand not as captives of his wiles, but as seekers of the truth. His 7-fold craft may bruise us, may cloud our days, but it cannot hold us, not while the light waits beyond the veil. The psalmist's cry echoes still. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, Psalm 34:18, and in that nearness lies our strength. Step forward then, and let us unmask the deceiver together, for the dawn is nearer than we know. Come now, my fellow travellers, let us halt at the border of this twilight wood and lift our gaze from the deceiver's shadowed waltz. His 7 marks have been laid bare, the parasite's clinging web, the bard's brazen lies, the lantern's fleeting glow, the jailer's silken chains, the fugitive's swift flight, the mirror's crocodile tears, and the architect's fractured throat. We have traced his steps through the dust of our days, felt the sting of his needle, and heard the echo of his tune. Yet what is this masquerade to the one whose eye pierces all mask? His dance may whirl us into dusk, but it cannot bind us, not while a greater light kindles beyond the veil, a dawn that whispers of freedom and mends the broken thread. If these marks have painted a portrait you know too well, pause here and feel the weight of it. You have danced with him, have you not? You have offered your pity to the leech, only to find your mercy turned to chains. You have trusted the bard's song, only to stumble in the fog of his fiction. I see it in my own mirror, the friend whose flattery veiled a rival's heart, the companion whose absence cut deeper than words. The deceiver's craft is no stranger to us. It is the shadow at our table, the whisper in our ear, the hand we clasped in faith only to find it cold. And oh, how it bruises the tender flesh of hope, the fragile bone of trust, leaving us to wonder if the dance will ever end. Yet despair not, for the wound is not the tale's end. Those tears you shed, those hours spent unravelling his lies, they are not lost, not squandered in the dust. They are embers of a flame that still burns within you, a spark of love that the deceiver cannot snuff out. He may have fed on your pity, fled your flood, or sown discord in your hearth, but he has not stolen your capacity to feel, to give, to hope. I have wept, too, for a brother whose tears were a mirror, for a confidant whose light faded at dusk. And yet the weeping taught me this: the heart that breaks is the heart that lives, and the love ill spent upon his mask is not gone, it waits to be kindled anew. Take heart, then, and cast off the shroud of his making. Step from the wood where his shadows sway, and let the air of dawn fill your lungs. The deceiver's chains are frail, his web tears with a tug, his lies crumble under scrutiny, his throne totters when the light falls full upon it. You need not linger in his cage, nor sway to his tune. The jailer's key is yours to seize, the fugitive's flight a path you need not follow. I have done it, turned from a mentor's velvet barbs, walked free from a colleague's discord, and found the world brighter for it. The unmasking is yours to claim, a shedding of the false for the true, a breaking of the spell that bids you dance, and where shall that love so bruised by his craft find its home? Not in the deceiver's mirror, nor in the echo of his hollow sobs, but in a hearth more worthy of its flame. Perhaps it is a friend whose hand stays steady when the storm breaks, a soul whose words heal rather than pierce. Perhaps it is a quiet hill where the wind carries no lies, or a corner of your own spirit, long dimmed, now ready to glow. I have found it in the laughter of a child, untainted by guile, in the silence of a chapel where the eternal whispers peace. Redirect your embers there, my friends, and watch them blaze into a fire that warms rather than consumes. This unmasking is no mere trick of the mind, no scholar's game of naming and knowing. It is a summons to the soul, a call to rise from the dust and claim the dawn. Love beareth all things, hopeth all things, the apostle sings, 1 Corinthians 13:7. And in that song lies a truth deeper than the deceiver's art. The wounds of falsehood heal, the night gives way to day. You who have borne his shadow, who have felt the chill of his flight or the weight of his discord, hear this, you are not forsaken. The weaver of all mornings bends near, threading your broken trust into a garment fairer than the masquerade's gaudy cloth. Stand then, not as a pawn of his wiles, but as a bearer of the light that rends his veil. And you do not stand alone. For every heart bruised by his needle there is a company waiting, unseen perhaps, but real as the earth beneath your feet. They are the ones who have unmasked him too, who have cast off his shroud and felt the dawn's first breath. I have met them in the stranger who shared my burden, in the friend who spoke truth when lies abounded, and they are legion. Share this tale with them, my companions. Whisper it where the weary gather, for in the telling we bind our wounds, and in the hearing we kindle hope. The deceiver thrives where we falter. Let us be the ones who rise, who sing of the day, who bear the taper through the wood. Consider this, too, his rein is frail, his web may snare, his lies may dazzle, but they are gossamer before the wind of truth. I have seen it. A colleague's fictions undone by a single honest word, a kinsman's discord scattered by a moment's clarity. The masquerade holds only while we sway to its tune. Step aside, lift the lantern, and it crumbles like ash. The psalmist knew it. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. Psalm 34:18. And in that nearness lies a power the deceiver cannot match. His mask may gleam, but it is clay beneath the glaze, and the dawn cracks it wide. So let us whisper of freedom, not with the thunder of the proud, but with the quiet of the redeemed. The deceiver's dance may have bruised us, may have clouded our sight, but it cannot hold us. Not while the light waits beyond the veil, not while the weaver mends our thread. Pass this whisper on, my friends. Carry it to the hearth, the lane, the heart still trapped in dusk. We are not captives of his wiles, nor shadows of his making. We are pilgrims of the dawn, and the one who wove the stars walks with us still. Step forward then, and let the unmasking be our song. And so, my fellow pilgrims, we lower the curtain on this twilight masquerade, not with the clangor of a victor's trumpet, but with the hush of a friend by the fire murmuring truths too tender for the daylight's glare. I have led you through the shadowed wood, unmasked the deceiver with his sevenfold craft, the parasite's web, the bard's lies, the lantern's fade, the jailer's cage, the fugitive's flight, the mirror's tears, and the architect's discord, and pointed to the dawn that breaks his spell. The tale is told, the dance laid bare, yet here I linger, not to preach from a lofty perch, but to sit beside you, a scribbler of inklings who has felt the same shadows brush his own. I claim no mantle of prophecy, no crown of unerring sight. I am no sage who stands apart, immune to the wiles I name. I am a stumbler in the dusk, a soul who has offered pity to the leech and swayed to the bard's false tune. The deceiver has crossed my path too, in the colleague whose flattery hid a dagger, in the kinsman whose tears mourned his pride, not my pain. These marks are not a scholar's theorem, carved in cold stone for the wise to nod over. They are a pilgrim's scratches, traced in the dust of my own faltering steps. If they ring true to you, it is because we have danced the same measure, bruised by the same needle. And I write not to judge, but to share the lantern that grace has lit for me. Pause here, my friends, and feel the weight of what we have seen. You have borne his shadow, have you not? You have felt the chill of the lantern snuffed at dusk, the sting of the jailer's velvet barbs, the silence of the fugitive when the flood rose high. I see it in my own mirror, the hours spent unravelling a friend's discord, the nights spent wondering why our promise crumbled like a... The unmasking is no light thing. It lays bare the bruises we hid, the trust we spent too freely, the love we poured into a cracked cup. Yet it is no doom. It is a waking, a shedding of the shroud that bids us sleep in his sway. Take this lantern then and carry it forth, not as a trophy to flaunt, but as a taper to share in the quiet places. Whisper these marks to a companion over tea, when the hearth glows soft and the world is still. Read them aloud where the weary gather, their eyes dim with the deceiver's dusk. Pen them in a letter to a soul still trapped in his web, swaying to his lies. I have done it, murmured a warning to a student snared by flattery, shared a tale with a stranger bruised by discord, and found the air lighter for it. The deceiver thrives where tongues falter, where hearts turn inward. Airless be the whisper that stirs the silence, the spark that bids the sleeper rise. You are a chief, and you do not whisper alone. For every heart pierced by his needle, every spirit chilled by his flight, there is a company waiting, a fellowship of the unmasked, unseen perhaps, but as real as the earth beneath your feet. They are the ones who have cast off his cage, who have turned from his mirror to the dawn, and they are legion. I have met them in the friend who stood when others fled, in the stranger whose honesty cut through the bard's fictions. They are not the proud who trumpet their triumph, but the quiet who bear their scars and smile at the day. Share this tale with them, my companions, for in the telling we bind our wounds, and in the hearing we weave a thread stronger than his frail art. Consider this too, his reign is fragile as a spider's thread. His web may snare, his lies may dazzle, his discord may fracture, but they crumble before the breath of truth. I have seen it, a colleague's flattery undone by a single honest glance, a kinsman's tears dried by a moment's clarity, a circle's strife healed by a word of peace. The masquerade holds only while we dance to its tune. Step aside, lift the taper, and it falls like mist before the sun. The night is far spent, Paul writes, Romans 13:12. The day is at hand. And what is the deceiver's craft to that? His mask may gleam, but it is clay beneath the glaze, and the dawn cracks it wide. So let us speak of joy, not with the clamour of the boastful, but with the quiet of the redeemed. The deceiver's wiles may have bruised us, may have clouded our sight, but they cannot hold us, not while the dawn kindles beyond the wood, not while the one who mends the broken reed walks beside us. I have felt it. The lifting of the shroud when I turned from the jailer's cage, the warmth of the hearth when I fled the architect's ruin. This is no mere escape. It is a homecoming, a return to the light that his shadows cannot dim. Pass this whisper on, my friends, and let it echo where the twilight lingers yet, for the joy of the dawn is ours to claim. I leave you then not with a farewell, but with a charge, not as a master to his pupils, but as a brother to his kin. Go forth as bearers of the unmasking, not in bitterness toward the deceiver's art, nor in pride at your own waking, but in the humble gladness of those who have seen the day. The psalmist's cry rings true. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, Psalm 34:18. And in that nearness lies our strength, our song, our shield. Carry this tale to the lane, the hearth, the heart still swayed by his tune, and let it be a lantern against the dusk, a whisper against the silence, for this is no end, but a beginning, a ripple in the stillness, a breath in the dark. The deceiver's dance may whirl on, his mask may gleam for others yet unwary, but we who have unmasked him bear a power he cannot touch. I have whispered it to a friend by the fire, to a stranger in the lane, and seen the spark take hold. You too have whispered it, I wager, to a soul bruised by his flight, to a heart snared by his web, and felt the air shift. We are not captives of his wiles, nor shadows of his making. We are pilgrims of the dawn, and the one who wove the stars walks with us still. Let this whisper echo, my companions, and may it light the wood where others falter yet. And so I set down my pen, not with the flourish of a conqueror, but with the sigh of a friend who has shared what he knows. The masquerade is frail, the dawn is sure, and we are not alone. Pass this tale on, carry it to the quiet places, the broken places, the places where the deceiver's tune still plays, and let it be a song of the day. We have danced in the twilight, yes, but we dance no more. We walk in the light, and the light endures. Whisper it, my friends, and may the one who sees all guide us home.